The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Monday, February 26, 2024, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Sunday, February 25, 2024, was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentation of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Gianaris.
Good afternoon, Madam President. On page 30, I offer the following amendments to Calendar 381, Senate Print 1159A, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendment is received and the bill will retain its place on the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, we have numerous resolutions today, but we're going to try and dispense with the calendar first. So please take up the reading of the calendar.
The Secretary will read.
Is there any debate?
Calendar number 129, Senate Print 1948A by Senator Hoylman Siegel, an act to amend the Environmental Conservation Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 30th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 129, voted in the negative, Senator Oberacker. Ayes 53, nays 1.
Bill is passed.
Calendar number 144, Senate Print 6676 by Senator Hoylman Siegel, an act to amend the Uniform City Court Act.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 90th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 144, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Tedisco, Weber, and White. Also Senator Ashby. Ayes 45, nays 9.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 169, Senate Print 2028A by Senator Adabo, an act to amend the real property tax law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Scarcella Spanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to Senator Adabo for this extremely important piece of legislation. This is one of the first bills that I was able to co-sponsor when I got into the Senate. Giving our veterans who are 100% service disabled a 100% property tax deduction is important because New Jersey is already doing it. We want to make sure that New York State is the place that veterans can and will want to call home when they get out. So this is important in making sure that we are on par with what New Jersey is already doing. I would also like to point out that New York City does do a really great job of staggering their property tax exemption. So whether you're 100% disabled or less, you do qualify for some kind of property tax deduction. So if anybody hasn't done that, please make sure you do. But this goes one step further, trying to keep our 100% service disabled veterans here and not moving to our neighboring state of New Jersey. I proudly vote aye. Thank you.
In the affirmative, announce results.
Ayes 54.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 205, Senate Print 204 by Senator Clear, an act to amend the correction law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the 180th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce Senator Clear to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Over 200,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, and incarcerated women face unique risks given their lack of access to adequate health care. In a 2019 report on women's health care in New York State's prisons and jails, the Correctional Association of New York identified serious issues with the medical treatment received by women in the prison system, including issues involving mammogram screenings. Sadly, we already know that incarceration is linked to premature death in the United States, and for that very reason, it is incredibly important that women who are incarcerated know their risks and have information about self-exams and have regular mammograms consistent with best medical practices. Equity, justice, and fairness, as well as humanity, require this. Thank you, and I vote aye.
Senator Clear to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the result.
Ayes 54.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 226, Senate Print 1801 by Senator Ramos, an act to amend the labor law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Ramos to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, this year I've focused my legislative agenda on worker health and safety. We've been trying to reform workers' compensation, enacting protections for extreme temperatures, and regulating the warehouse industry to make sure that every worker comes home healthy and whole. We're on the same page with the governor and are working to raise our temporary disability insurance payments for the first time since 1989. And all that work is incomplete if we leave domestic workers out. While New York City and Westchester County provide for up to 40 hours of paid sick leave per year to domestic workers, New York State's paid sick leave law leaves domestic workers in the rest of the state behind. This is the unfortunate pattern in our labor law's history with domestic workers. Domestic workers, like farm workers, were carved out of the New Deal because the workers were mostly black. They were sold out to win support for Southern Democrats during the fight for the New Deal. And this body can't leave them behind again. We must end the vestiges of the Jim Crow era here in New York, and there's no better time than Black History Month to do it. Domestic workers often earn poverty-level wages and are reluctant to take time off because they cannot afford to lose a day's worth of wages. They're grossly underpaid as it is. According to the Fiscal Policy Institute, there are 328,000 domestic workers in New York. These workers perform essential work like caring for children, elderly loved ones, our homes, and helping people with disabilities live independent lives. It's work done almost entirely by women of color. They're home care workers, nannies, and house cleaners, and they comprise a large and growing workforce. We all benefit if these workers are able to care for their health. So thank you to the leader and to everyone who's going to be voting aye with me.
Senator Ramos to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 226, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Ashby, Morello, Kenzari Fitzpatrick, Gallivan, Griffo, Helming, Lanza, Martins, Matera, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Palumbo, Rhodes, Rollison, Steck, Tedisco, Weber, and White. Ayes 36, nays 19.
The bill is passed.
Thanks. Calendar number 233, Senate Print 6112 by Senator Stavisky, an act to amend the education law.
The bill is laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 248, Senate Print 3118 by Senator Mannion, an act to amend the mental hygiene law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 120th day, it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the result.
Ayes 56.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 298, Senate Print 7109 by Senator Kennedy, an act to amend the public service law.
The bill is laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 336, Senate Print 724 by Senator Serrano, an act to amend the environmental conservation law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 336, those senators voting in the negative are Senators Oberacker and O'Mara, ayes 56, nays 2.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 393, Senate Print 5714A by Senator Clear, an act to amend the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Janoris Kruger, Ort, Sewell Cousins, White.
Senator Clear to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. Some of the most important groups within our communities are our arts and cultural organizations. They teach us how to dance, sing, paint, give lessons on history, culture, and the environment. They serve as communal gathering spaces for meetings, advocacy, and celebrations, and in short, they enrich us. However, not all institutions are sitting on $5 billion in assets. The small, diverse, community-centric arts organizations are the ones who need our support the most. Yet, historically, they are the ones that have the most difficulty garnering federal, state, and local support. Large cultural organizations have plenty of space and large audiences, but are not always committed to supporting and displaying works that focus on diversity, equity, and telling history from different points of view. Therefore, this bill does several things. It amends the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law to incorporate even broader concern for culture, access, diversity, equity, inclusion, social, and racial justice by reforming the composition of NISCA, by requiring consideration of diversity, equity considerations, and cultural preservation and development. This bill is sorely needed to make certain that our arts and cultural organizations tell the whole story of our people, our communities, and our history. In doing so, we will shape a better future for all. I vote aye. Thank you.
Senator Clear to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to Calendar 393, those senators voted in the negative are Senators Ashby, Borrello, Canzoni Fitzpatrick, Helming, Lanza, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, Rhodes, and White. Ayes 48, nays 11.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Madam President, I move to adopt the resolution calendar with the exception of resolutions 1828 and 1839.
All those in favor of adopting the resolution calendar with the exception of resolutions 1828 and 1839, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution calendar is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Let's now begin with previously adopted resolution 1788 by Senator Rivera. Read its title only and recognize Senator Rivera.
Senator Rivera on the resolution. Will read.
Resolution 1788 by Senator Rivera, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim March 2024 as American Red Cross Month in the state of New York.
Senator Rivera on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. So I stand today proudly to celebrate the making March Red Cross Month here in the state of New York. There are, and not only that, but to actually honor a few folks who hopefully are joining us. I didn't have the time to go up and say hello, but yes, they are right there. We are joined by some of these folks. I'm not sure if you folks know this, and for me, I saw Red Cross folks in my district even before I was a senator and before I actually got to know them as an organization. Once I got to know them as an organization, I found out that about 90% of the folks who work for the Red Cross, the folks that go out to our communities after there is a disaster, are actually volunteers. The overwhelming majority of the folks that do the work every single day are volunteers. I had the opportunity a few years ago to go out with some of these folks and to actually, right after there had been a fire in my district, and I rode along with them for a few hours, and just like everybody else, I gave my time, and I was able to learn a little bit about the work that they do and the way that they change lives. Just so you know some of the numbers that we're talking about here. Just last year, they provided more than 500,000 volunteers advice hours, so we're talking about 500,000 hours of individuals' times in the state of New York. They responded to more than 3,300 disasters, mostly of those home fires. They delivered safe shelter, hot meals, emotional support, and recovery resources to over 7,200 families in need. And they also supported the collection of about 222,000 units of blood and over 10,150 blood drives across the state. Bottom line is that these folks, all these volunteers across the state, do amazing work every day at the darkest time in the lives of many of our neighbors. And three folks who are here today, and I'd ask them to stand if they're with us: Shirley Lung, Michael Hoplite, and Teresa Rossi. I hope I did not mess up anybody's name, but these three folks have been singled out as three volunteers that are the distinguished humanitarians, so to speak, that did amazing work last year and probably for many, many years with the Red Cross. I wanted to take some time to thank them for their work. I am sure that you, over the time, whether you've been working, volunteering for Red Cross for a year or for a decade, have definitely impacted people's lives directly in our neighborhoods, in our districts, and we thank you for that. So, Madam President, I would certainly want to honor them and give them the privileges of the House. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Rivera. Minority Leader Ort on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Rivera for bringing this resolution to the floor, and I certainly want to thank the folks who are here today who make our communities, our state, and our country a better place to live by leading by example, by volunteering their time and putting themselves forward to assist those who very often find themselves in great need of help at a time when they either suffer through a natural disaster or some other emergency. And for me, it's a great honor to not only speak on behalf of the Red Cross and of these volunteers in general, but it's always great when you have a constituent who's amongst the honorees. So I would like to recognize, certainly from Niagara County, from Sanborn, Mike Hoplite, who is here, a true epitome of public service. His love for volunteering started as a teenager when he was with the Niagara Falls Boys and Girls Club. His service to our nation started in 1967 when he joined the Army for 4 years active duty and then 25 years in the Army Reserve. Upon his retirement, Michael chose to continue his service as a Red Cross volunteer, where he has volunteered his time in response to national disasters like Hurricane Katrina, Irene, and Ike. It's in his role as service to the Armed Forces volunteer where Michael truly shines by providing countless of hours of support to our nation's military and our nation's veterans. He has deployed 3 times to provide support to active combat veterans, twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. Back in Western New York, he remains a constant source of support to our veterans. The Buffalo VA is one of the few VAs in the nation that provides No Veteran Dies Alone program to provide end-of-life companionship to our veterans who have no remaining family members. Michael has said, "We wouldn't leave you alone on the battlefield. We will not leave you alone in your hospital room either." That speaks volumes to the kind of man Michael is, and it's an honor to recognize his service today. Michael, thank you for your service. To all of you, thank you for your service. May God bless you, and thank you for being here. Madam President, I want to thank you for your indulgence. And Senator Rivera, again, thank you for bringing the resolution.
Thank you, Senator Ort. Senator Breslin on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Madam President. It is my honor and pleasure to introduce another volunteer. And when we think of it, what is a volunteer? We don't volunteer here as legislators, but a volunteer is someone who provides a service to someone else and not expecting anything in return. Teresa Rossi from Schenectady, New York, is one of those people. In 2017, she began her work with the Red Cross. And since then, she has provided over 2,200 hours of service. And during that period of time, it's interesting, some people stick to what they start with. But Teresa is a blood donor, a blood drive coordinator, a donor ambassador, a donor and volunteer, a recruiter, and a trainer. That would be the equivalent of someone going to the Yankees and being able to play shortstop, first base, pitcher, catcher, in the outfield, and probably manage the team as well. So Teresa has provided this service for over 7 years, not expecting anything in return except providing that good service. And we're so proud to have you here, Teresa, and I'd be remiss in your household if you didn't also recruit your husband, Michael, to be part of the team. You are an inspiration to all of us. Keep up the good work, and I hope you visit here with us and give instructions to us on how to be the true volunteer. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Breslin. Senator Comrie on the resolution.
Madam President, good afternoon, members. I want to introduce a volunteer that comes from Queens. Heyo. Shirley Long has been a Greater New York Region volunteer for the Red Cross for over 7 years now. After working in a good career in development and investment banking, including Economic Development Director for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. Shirley is a problem solver. She's a thought partner, she's a data guru, and more, she's a humanitarian. Volunteering for the Red Cross is a selfless position, but she does it as a valued team member because she can not only identify problems or challenges, but she can also suggest and implement solutions quickly. And Shirley is kind, she's quite humble, she's patient. She barely talks to me a lot of times when she's here at the meetings. But she's also someone that you can see the entire team depends on. She was a much-deserved recipient of the 2020 Clara Barton Award for Meritorious Volunteer Leadership. The recipients of that award embody the pioneering leadership qualities of Red Cross founder and President Clara Barton. She's completed the necessary skills training to play almost every position at the Red Cross. As Senator Breslin just said, she's an international delegate. She's completed the Disaster Cycle Services Government Operations Manager training. She's an instructor, team member for the New York City chapter. She's done disaster cycle services. She's worked as a mass care team member. She's been a volunteer partner for the government and community relations. She's been coming up here every year since I've been here to talk about the Red Cross. She's done volunteer caseworkers for families, putting links together when families are going through one of the most stressful times in their lives. She's been an emergency management task force and team member. She's also, in addition to that, she's been working in not just community relations, but working as a volunteer on the Family Links Helpline at the Communications Center for the New York City Emergency Disaster Team as a dispatcher. In addition to her service at home in New York State, Shirley has deployed to other cities and states going back to 2018, where she was in a hurricane at Florence, North Carolina, at the 2019 Alabama tornadoes, at Tropical Storm Hannah in Texas in 2020, and Hurricane Ida in Louisiana in 2021, and Hurricane Fiona in 22, and lastly in Hurricane Ian in Florida in 2022. When you look at Shirley, she looks like she's 50 pounds soaking wet, but she's truly a special person. I know the New York City team at the Red Cross truly appreciates her spirit and her selfless service. And I want to thank you, Madam President, for allowing me to introduce Shirley Leung, one of the best parts of the best borough in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Comrie. To our guests from the Red Cross, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Gianaris.
The adopted Resolution 1807 by Senator Kennedy. Read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Kennedy.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1807 by Senator Kennedy, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim July 1st, 2024 as Canada Day in the state of New York, a celebration of this great Empire State's long-standing economic and cultural relationship with Canada.
Senator Kennedy on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today to honor the long-standing relationship between the United States and Canada. We are honored to have a number of guests from the Canadian government here with us in the Senate chamber on the Senate floor, and I'd like to recognize them and ask them to stand as their names are called. David Patterson, Alberta's representative to Ontario. The Honourable Senator Michael MacDonald, representing Nova Scotia. Brian Massey, Member of Parliament, representing riding of Windsor West, Ontario. Canada's Consul General in New York, Tom Clark. Quebec's Delegate General in New York, Martine Hébert. Genevieve Fletcher, the Consul and Deputy Head of Foreign Affairs for the Consulate General of Canada in New York. Anne Cecile Dequesne, the Quebec Government Office in New York. Taylor Reek, also of the Quebec Government Office in New York. Zachariah Black from the Canada-US Parliamentary Group, and I will say, last but certainly not least, as a matter of fact, very special individual to me and many in this chamber, is our friend Rachel Homewood, my former Chief of Staff and Legislative Director right here in this chamber, who's the Senior Diplomatic Advisor to the Canadian Consulate in New York. We welcome you all here today. Madam President, New York's neighbor to the north, the great country of Canada, shares so much with us: history, culture, and the largest bilateral tourism industry in the United States. More than 5.5 million Canadians visit the state of New York every year, and yet our relationship with Canada is much bigger than these temporary visits might suggest. Our proximity and partnership has led to more than 800 Canadian-owned companies putting down roots in our state, with nearly 700,000 jobs that have been created that are dependent upon Canadian and U.S. trade, demonstrating a collaboration and commitment to opportunity. Canada and New York are also among each other's top trade markets. In 2022 alone, trade between our state and our Canadian neighbors totaled $42.5 billion, a year-over-year increase of over $8 billion. In Western New York, our ties to Canada are part of our daily culture. And I would say across this country, we share this amazing history. And you think about where the United States has risen up to the extraordinary leader in the global community. It's been Canada, our neighbors to the north, that have been demonstrating to the world what a true partnership and friendly neighbor is all about, whether it's in our commerce that I've discussed here today, or whether it's in the history. And as our great American military veterans have gone off and fight in world wars across the globe, it's been our Canadian partners that have donned the uniform and fought for freedom with us. And today, when we think about the peaceful relationship that we have and the ability for us to share our culture and to think about days where Canadians pour over that border, our shared border, into Buffalo, New York, my hometown, whether it's a Buffalo Bills game or a Buffalo Sabres game, the seats are full of fans from both sides of the border. Our communities are tied together with some of the most important bridge crossings in North America, with the Peace Bridge, the Lewiston-Queenston Bridge, the Rainbow Bridge, carrying around 2 million trucks and more than 7.5 million cars every year, accounting for tens of billions of dollars in international trade. When the pandemic hit, just a few short years ago, its magnitude was enormous, especially for border communities that have long seen the other side not just as neighbors, but as family. Thankfully, we stand here today on the other side of that heartbreak. As both of our nations continue to rebuild, we recognize that we are so much more than a shared border. In the light and the dark, we are one together. Today, the New York State Senate joins together to recognize our friends to the north, the true north, the existing partnership we share, and the bright future ahead. Welcome, thank you, and Madam President, if you could bestow upon these honorable guests all of the privileges of the House.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. I will in a minute. Senator Griffo on the resolution.
Well, thank you, Senator Kennedy, and I want to extend our appreciation and welcome to our distinguished guests who are with us today. I had the opportunity to represent the border and always appreciated the way that we would communicate, the goodwill that we experienced, the exploring of common interests, and ultimately to undertake cooperative ventures and initiatives. So I sincerely appreciate all of your work and in this historic relationship. And I'm going to quote another Kennedy, the former President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, whose words I think are as appropriate today as they were in May of 1961, when he said, in describing the relationship between these two great nations, ours and Canada, "Geography has made us neighbors, history has made us friends, economics has made us partners, and necessity has made us allies." Those words today, I think, are as important and significant as they were then. We look forward to continuing this historic relationship of friendship and partnership and wish you the best, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Senator Griffo. To our guests representing the nation of Canada, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend you the privileges and courtesies of the House. You already rose, but let's be recognized. Senator Gianaris, the resolution was adopted on February 13th.
Thank you, Madam President. Can we now take up Resolution 1839 by Senator Serrano? Read that resolution's title and recognize Senator Serrano.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1839 by Senator Serrano, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation.
Senator Serrano on the resolution.
Thank you very much, Madam President. It is such an honor to rise here in the Senate chamber on my resolution 1839, commemorating and celebrating 100 years. Thank you, Madam President. Commemorating and celebrating 100 years of our New York State park system. Our parks are transformational. Our parks mean so much to all of our lives. Our parks during the pandemic became our refuge. During a very difficult and anxious time, they became the place that we all went to for safety, for enjoyment, and to be together. And over the years, we've seen increased visitorship. Last year, we had another banner year with over 84 million visitors attending and visiting our state parks. Our state parks provide countless educational opportunities, and they allow our communities and folks to interact with the natural world around them. Those of us who live in urban environments, as I do, really do benefit from having the opportunity to interact with our state parks, to become friends to our parks, and to become stewards of our park system. I really do believe that our parks have the ability to be transformational, but also to give tremendous opportunities, especially to young people in our communities. The ability or the opportunity to attend summer camp has been shown to have tremendous benefits for a lifetime. Learning how to swim, engaging in hiking, camping, in the great outdoors are things that could never be overlooked and can bring about a lifetime of good things for New Yorkers. New York State has one of the, probably the best park system anywhere in the nation. Indeed, it is an old system with a lot of aging infrastructure that is in constant need of repair. But I have so much gratitude to the Office of State Parks for all that they do to make sure that our parks remain accessible. One of the things that we care deeply about here in the legislature is ensuring parks equity. making sure that our communities in places like the South Bronx, East Harlem, upstate New York, have real access to green space, have real access to nature programs and educational opportunities. And I think it's really important that we delve deeper into those opportunities. But today's resolution and celebration really gives us the opportunity to think about how much our parks have meant to us over these last 100 years. Whether you're in Harriman State Park, whether you're out in parks on Long Island, Jones Beach, you name it, we really have some of the most beautiful wilderness anywhere in the nation. So I'm very grateful for the parks advocates who are in the gallery today. Today happens to be Parks Advocacy Day here in Albany, which is one of my favorite days of the legislative year, where folks come from across the state and visit all of us in our offices to talk about why our parks are important and why they're vital. So grateful to all of my colleagues for their support of this resolution. I look forward to a wonderful year-long celebration of the centennial. And I thank you, colleagues, and Madam President, for the opportunity to speak on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Serrano. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank you, Senator Serrano, for this important resolution. Hailing from New York City's greenest borough, parks are really critically important to the development of not just people, but of young people. There is no greater soundtrack to the summer than hearing the joy and exultation of children being able to play in a park and being able to have such an expansive and extensive state park system throughout this great state is something that we should avail ourselves of more opportunities. My family and I, we often sometimes decide on a whim that we'll travel a little further north and we'll go to one of the state parks, whether it be Bear Mountain State Park or one of the other state parks or Lake Welch or something of the sort, and we try to expose our kids to something a little different. And it's my sincere hope that everybody gets a chance to experience the greatness that we do have in this state park system. Whatever it is, whatever your leisure activity may be, there's something in a New York State Park for you. In addition to that, it's the endorphins that are released from the fresh air and the hiking activities, or even if it's just sitting down on some freshly pruned grass, right? There's something in every New York State Park for you. So Senator Serrano, thank you for this resolution. I'm glad that we're celebrating this centennial of New York State Parks, and to many more years.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. To our guests who are here for Parks Day, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges. Senator Jackson, I did not see your hand. Senator Jackson on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of the resolution. I formerly represented Riverbank State Park, and that's right on between 135th and 145th Street in Harlem. And let me say this to you, that the track, the basketball courts, the tennis courts, the swimming pool, all of the things that the youth of our inner city basically enjoy going to. And in fact, anytime my daughters had time off from school during a holiday, I would take them to go swimming at Riverbank State Park. And it was only $1 to get in there. And so I say this to you, that it was a gift, obviously, with the community working hand in hand, because underneath the park is, anyway, it's for the community. But now I represent Roberto Clemente State Park in the Bronx. And let me tell you, it's a beautiful park there for all of the kids that live in that area and from whoever comes from different parts of the Bronx. And as you know, Roberto Clemente was a very famous baseball player that basically died in transporting food to those that are in need in South America. So with that, I tell you, I enjoy the parks, and I'm so happy that we have these parks where hundreds of thousands of individuals can enjoy, and knowing that it's for them and their children to have fun and enjoy, learn how to swim and run at Roberto Clemente State Park and Riverbank State Park. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Gonzalez on the resolution.
Thank you so much, Madam President. I wanted to echo the sentiments that we heard today about the importance of our parks. I have the pleasure of representing an incredible state park, Gantry State Park, in Long Island City, and I'm really excited to welcome two constituents today who are here from the Hunters Point Parks Conservancy. So I wanted to give them a warm welcome and shout out. You know, between the work that they do and the investment that we've made in our parks, it has been a lifeline for our community for years, especially during the pandemic when so many of our families were looking for places to go in an area that was incredibly starved for green space. So I really do want to take this moment to celebrate and appreciate all of the hard work it takes to make something like that happen, and really speak to how in the hardest moments, it is our green space, it is our third spaces that are places where we can go to build our community, to seek refuge, that improves the quality of our life. And so I do want to thank Senator Serrano for this, but also, again, everyone here and our community members for the incredible work that they're doing. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Gonzalez. Senator Clear on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I wasn't going to say anything about this resolution until Senator Jackson spoke about Riverbank State Park, which I now represent and proudly represent the park. It has been renamed the Herman Denny Farrell State Park. And that park, when I look at it, is all the things that everyone has said today, but it serves a community that doesn't necessarily have access to traveling, to going on vacations sometime, to the Hamptons or maybe some of the other more affluent places. This is their Hamptons. It's a beautiful park. It serves so many of my constituents for swimming, for roller skating, for ice skating. And not just my district, but people come from far and wide. And I appreciate the park being in our district because it definitely has changed and transforms lives of the people in my community. So I thank Senator Serrano for bringing this resolution here today, because sometimes we can take for granted some of the things that we have in our community. It's truly a paradise, and I'm happy that it's in my district and proudly represented. Thank you.
To our guests here for Parks Day, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The question is on the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's please take up previously adopted resolution 1598 by Senator Sepulveda. Please read that resolution title only and recognize Senator Sepulveda.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1598 by Senator Sepulveda, commemorating the 180th anniversary of the independence of the Dominican Republic, to be celebrated on February 27, 2024.
Senator Sepulveda on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to present this resolution. I rise today to recognize a pivotal moment not only in the history of the Dominican Republic, but also in the ongoing narrative of Dominican contributions to the vibrant tapestry of New York State. As we commemorate the 180th anniversary of the Dominican Republic, we celebrate not only our nation's sovereignty, but also the immense impact of Dominican New Yorkers on the fabric of our society. Resolution 1598 serves as a poignant acknowledgement of the indelible mark left by Dominican immigrants in our great state. From the bustling streets of Washington Heights to the dynamic neighborhoods of the best county in the world, the Bronx, and beyond, Dominican Americans have enriched our communities with culture, resilience, and unwavering spirit. Today, I am honored to highlight the exemplary achievements of one such individual among us, Mr. Kemuel Arroyo. A proud Dominican New Yorker, Mr. Arroyo has distinguished himself as a trailblazer and advocate for accessibility in our city. In February of 2021, he assumed the role of the MTA's first agency-wide chief accessibility officer, championing inclusivity and equal access to transportation to all New Yorkers. Mr. Arroyo's story is emblematic of the countless ways in which Dominicans make New York a better place each day. His dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to the service serve as a beacon of inspiration to all of us. In honoring the 180th anniversary of the Dominican Republic, let us recognize the invaluable contributions of individuals like Mr. Arroyo. We are privileged to have him as a symbolic ambassador entrusted with conveying our heartfelt congratulations to our brothers and sisters in the Dominican Republic. He will be delivering this resolution to the Dominican Assembly and the Dominican Senate. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to fostering great understanding, cooperation, and mutual respect between our nations. We may continue to celebrate the rich culture, heritage of the Dominican Republic, and enduring bond shared between our people. Viva la República Dominicana, Dios, patria y libertad. And in Spanish, hoy me levanto para reconocer un momento crucial no solo en la historia de la República Dominicana, sino también en la narrativa continua de las contribuciones dominicanos han hecho en esta ciudad. Al conmemorar el 180 aniversario de la independencia de la República Dominicana, celebramos no solo la soberanía de nuestra nación, sino también el inmenso impacto de los dominicanos en Nueva York en nuestra estructura de nuestra sociedad. La resolución 1598 sirve como un conmovedor reconocimiento de la huella indeleble dejada por los inmigrantes dominicanos en nuestra nación y en nuestro estado. Desde las bulliciosas calles de Washington Heights hasta los dinámicos vecindarios del Bronx y más allá, los dominicanos han enriquecido nuestras comunidades con su cultura, resistencia y espíritu inquebrantable. Hoy tengo el honor de resaltar los logros ejemplares de uno de los individuos dominicanos entre nosotros, el señor Kemuel Arroyo. Orgulloso dominicano neoyorquino, el señor Arroyo se ha distinguido como un pionero y defensor de la accesibilidad en nuestra ciudad. En febrero del año 2021 asumió el cargo del primer oficial de accesibilidad a nivel de agencia de la Autoridad de Transporte Metropolitana, abogando por la inclusividad y acceso igualitario al transporte para todos los neoyorquinos. La historia del señor Arroyo es emblemática de las innumerables formas en que los dominicanos hacen de Nueva York un lugar mejor cada día. Su dedicación, liderazgo y compromiso inquebrantable con el servicio sirven como un faro de inspiración a todos nosotros. Al honrar el 180 años aniversario de la República Dominicana, también reconozcamos las invaluables contribuciones de individuos como el señor Arroyo, quien encarnan el espíritu de nuestra comunidad. Hoy, mientras estamos de pie en el Senado, tenemos el privilegio de contar con el señor Arroyo como nuestro embajador simbólico, encargado de transmitir nuestras sinceras felicitaciones a nuestros hermanos y hermanas en el Senado, en el Senado Dominicano y con los diputados. Juntos reafirmamos nuestro compromiso de fomentar una mayor comprensión, cooperación y respeto mutuo entre nuestras naciones, que continuemos celebrando la rica herencia cultural de la República Dominicana y el vínculo perdurable compartido entre nuestros países. Viva la República Dominicana, Dios, patria y libertad. Muchas gracias. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Sepulveda. Senator Jackson on the resolution.
Madam Chair, I did not raise my hand on this one, but I say to you that I will speak on the resolution knowing that that Mr. Arroyo is basically, any time that the MTA is opening up the elevators and building elevators so that anyone can come into the system, he's the chief officer that's responsible for that, and I've worked with him on many occasions. More recently at my Dykeman Street on the number 1 line, and also at the 181st Street and Fort Washington Avenue, making it accessible for all individuals, whether or not they were visually impaired or other impairments or disabilities, that making the MTA accessible. And no, we have a long way to go, but this is the right direction, and the person that's leading it is my friend, and I see him all around the community. I vote aye, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Bailey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. It's going to be difficult to top that. Senator Jackson's Freestyle Act, that was incredible. But if at least the Independencia for the Dominican Republic and 180 years of an incredible culture. It is the largest growing ethnic group in the borough of the Bronx. As Senator Sepulveda appropriately stated, the greatest county of the 62. Might be some debates, but there is no debate about the heart of the Dominican community. They excel in a great variety of many, endeavors, whether it be government, athleticism, advocacy for the MTA, including but not limited to all of these incredible tasks. And so as to not belabor the point, I think Senator Sepulveda touched on it best in English and in Spanish, which I will not endeavor to do today. But what I will say is just continue to let's continue to make sure that we live as one New York and that we celebrate every culture like they deserve to be celebrated. Dominican Republic, there's a Google Doodle. I don't know if you went on Google today. There is a doodle celebrating the Independence Day of the Dominican Republic today. So it is fitting that we have such a time on such an auspicious celebration. Congratulations, happy Independence Day, and thank you for the resolution, Senator Sepulveda. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Bailey. Senator Clear on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Today, I'm pleased to join in the celebration of the 180th anniversary of the independence of the Dominican Republic. Our former mayor of New York City referred to New York City as the gorgeous mosaic. And I have to say that the Dominican community has certainly added to that mosaic in many impactful and beautiful ways. Those efforts of 180 years ago have resulted in a great contribution to the city of New York and to my district, especially in business, in culture, food, civic and political engagement, healthcare, education, and it goes on and on. And Mr. Arroyo has been just a fantastic addition in that contribution to our community, not just to the Dominican community, but to all of us, to the disabled community and to all New Yorkers. And I thank you for your great work, and Viva Dominicana Republic. And that's the best I'm gonna do today.
Thank you, Senator Clear. Senator Weber on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank Senator Sepulveda for introducing this great resolution here today. Congratulations to Mr. Arroyo for all your great work over the number of years. You know, when my parents divorced in 1982, my father, a number of years later, married a Dominican woman from Bani. So I have a stepbrother who's a police officer in New York City who grew up a majority of his life in the Dominican Republic. And throughout my life, I had the great opportunity to visit the islands in the Dominican Republic a number of times, and it was such a great life-changing experience for me and for the rest of my family to really involve ourselves in a culture that was different than growing up as an Irish Catholic boy in Pearl River. So I appreciate all of the culture that the Dominican population has contributed to the United States. And now I represent a large Dominican population in Rockland County, based mainly in Haverstraw. This weekend we were able to participate in celebrations of the independence, February 27th. We did it a couple of days early. Johnny Ortiz, who's I think one of the earliest Dominican councilmen, I believe, in the United States, represents Haverstraw very well. And was really the spearhead of getting the celebration underway on Saturday. So I just want to, again, thank Senator Sepulveda for this great resolution, and happy Independence Day to my Dominican friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Weber. Senator Ramos on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to both honor my friend Q and Quisqueya. I represent a district that used to have a very large Dominican population, and although it has greatly diminished over the years, and that is the story of my district, it's the stepping stone for many immigrant communities. And once they save up enough and are able to buy homes on Long Island or upstate, in Senator Weber's district, or even move to New Jersey, we certainly are very proud of the Dominicans who remain and call Corona and Jackson Heights home. And certainly Q is very emblematic of the Dominican pride and excellence that is brought to work. Being an advocate for accessibility for the MTA myself, I'm very appreciative of all of his advocacy over the years, and hopefully in our lifetimes we will see every MTA station with an elevator and an escalator. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Ramos. Senator Fernandez on the resolution.
Que lo que, Madam President? I too wanted to take this moment to celebrate with my Dominican neighbors and this Day of Independence. As many of us, everyone who spoke has said, our communities have their presence, their partnership, and their love for their community. So I wanted to share my love and appreciation and this great day and thank them for their amazing contributions to each one of our districts and to the great state of New York. Happy Independence Day. Que viva la Dominica Republicana.
To our guests who are here for Dominican Independence Day, we welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of the House. Please be recognized. Senator Serrano, the resolution was previously adopted on January 17th. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's please take up previously adopted Resolution 1764 by Senator Rollison. Please read that resolution title only and call on and recognize Senator Rollison.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1764 by Senator Rollison, congratulating the Putnam Valley High School varsity cheerleading team upon the occasion of capturing the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Game Day Cheerleading Championship.
Senator Rollison on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. Really proud to congratulate and introduce today the Putnam Valley High School varsity cheerleading team and Coach Kelly Wilson. They recently, in November, won the Class C state championship for cheerleading with the New York State High School Athletic Association. Now, this was, as it is being described, a 10-section showdown, which you won. And this type of cheerleading celebrates the traditional type. It's modeled after sideline cheer routines and performed at sporting events. Madam President, cheerleading is a sport with demands athletic prowess, agility, and Coach Kelly Wilson, who has coached cheerleading at Putt Valley High School for 8 years, worked hard to hone the skills of this championship team, teaching these outstanding athletes lessons which will prove invaluable both on and off the field and court. And Coach Kelly Wilson and all of the outstanding athletes that are here today on the Putnam Valley High School varsity cheerleading team have clearly, Madam President, utilized dedication, determination, and teamwork in providing a lasting contribution to the spirit of excellence, which is the tradition of their school. Madam President, again, so very proud to meet these outstanding athletes today here at the Capitol, and would you please extend the privileges of this distinguished House to them?
Certainly, Senator Rollison. To our guests from Putnam Valley, Cheerleaders extraordinaire, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend you privileges and courtesies of the House. Please rise and be recognized. The resolution was previously adopted on January 17th. Senator Serrano.
Thank you, Madam President. Let's please take up previously adopted, nope, not previously adopted. Let's take up new resolution 1828 by Senator Harkam. Let's read that resolution title only and call on Senator Harkam.
The Secretary will read.
Resolution 1828 by Senator Harkam, mourning the death of Ann Gillelli, distinguished citizen, public servant, and devoted member of her community.
Senator Harkam on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, colleagues, for entertaining this resolution today. I rise to mourn the passing of a friend and a colleague, and someone who made an incredible difference in the Hudson Valley, Ann Gillelli. Some of you may remember Ann, but I also want to stand today to honor her and honor her body of work. You know, we all have people in our community who make extraordinary contributions. And if you look back on the life work of Ann and what she meant to the village of Croton, the town of Cortland, the Hudson Valley, it was remarkable. More than 30 years of dedicated service in planning, the planning board, the comprehensive plan committee, 21 years on the village board, 11 years as mayor, 10 years with the Westchester Planning Association as its head. And you scroll down the list of projects that Ann accomplished for the village is impressive enough. But those of us in public service who know what it takes to herd all the cats, to get those things across the line, these public projects in small towns and villages, to get the funding, to get the zoning changed, to build a consensus. Ann was an expert at that, and there is a list of projects. They're just quite remarkable, and I think the one that stands out to me is Croton Landing Park, which I believe is one of the jewels of the Hudson River to anybody who's ever been there. But one of the amazing accomplishments about it is that she stopped the Millennial Pipeline from going through there. And those of you who've ever opposed a pipeline know you don't stop pipelines. Yet Ann stopped the pipeline from going ashore in Croton Landing Park, and that was a remarkable achievement, and the legacy is a spectacular park that spits out into the majestic Hudson, and that was her vision, and that was just one example. But the other thing about Ann was her personality. Just calm and steady. She had a great sense of humor. I'll give you an example. In 2019, we had a major storm, knocked out a lot of the power in northern Westchester. I was doing a tour of the district, called the mayor. I said, do you have some damage that you need us to see? And he said, yes. And we were getting ready to go on the tour, and he said, the deputy mayor is trapped in her home, and there are live wires, and it's been 24 hours. And so we drove over to Ann's house, and it looked like a bomb hit the front yard. There were all these massive trees, and the power was out, and there was Ann standing on the street. And like, Ann, we were trapped in your house. What are you doing out here? And she said, I wanted to see that my neighbors were okay. And that was Ann. Like, I couldn't figure out how she was going to get through the downed trees and the live power lines, but she found a way to get out because she wanted to make sure the other people on her block were okay. And that was Ann. And it's people like that who just make our communities remarkable places to live, who give themselves to the community. She's left by her husband, John, and two of her kids are here today. John Jr. and daughter Carla are here, and so please accept our condolences. But more importantly, I think, please remember the vast amount of respect that we had for Ann, and her mark on the village of Croton will never, ever be forgotten. Truly an indelible mark by an incredible person. So thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be voting aye.
Thank you, Senator Harkam. To the family of Ann Gillelli, we welcome you. We extend our sincerest condolences. Please rise and be recognized. The question is on the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Serrano.
At the request of the sponsors, the resolutions are open for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open for co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor on the resolutions, please notify the desk. Senator Serrano.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
I move to adjourn until Wednesday, February 28th at 12 p.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday, February 28th at 12 p.m.